Our first speaker for today is Joe Graveline. Joe lives in Northfield. He's a retired business entrepreneur. He's a local lifetime musician. He's a small farm operator. He's an historical cultural researcher, and he's an environmentalist. So he's going to be talking to you today about all these solar subsidies and why all this money is being funneled to destroy our forests and our farmland.
Thank you for coming. So Janet covered a fair amount of who I am and partially what makes me tick. So I only have 7 minutes, but I want to give you 9,000 years of history and talk about solar, so it's going to be a tough one. So anyway, people have been living in the Connecticut River Valley uninterrupted for 9,000 years. The last 1,800 years, 100 generations, they've been making both indigenous and colonial, have been making highest and best use land use choices. And the highest and best use for this fertile river valley bottom, of which I own some of in Northfield, is to grow food and feed people. So think about it, 100 generations we've been able to keep growing crops on this land in the Connecticut River Valley. It's some of the best in the world. So here we are, it's time to start a new conversation. We have a once-in-a-generation opportunity to take control of our escalating energy needs in a way that is environmentally respectful and socially responsible to the land and the citizens. Are all solar projects alike? Well, one thing I can tell you is every one of us that's ever walked the face of the earth has a sacred relationship with the sun. Each and every one of us. Our existence is there because of the sun. I want to talk about community solar. It's an opportunity to share that sacred relationship with the sun. To make our own energy, clean electricity. So what I'd like you to do is I want to state this out front and at the end is that knowledge is power, and in its absence is vulnerability. So I'd like to have you get as knowledgeable as you can today from the speakers and from the tables that are set up, because our communities are hurting for that knowledge, and without it, we are incredibly vulnerable. Community solar, I just touched on. Great opportunity for people to tap into solar when they don't have the sunlight access on their private properties. It's clean. I've been using it for over a decade and a half. It's reliable. It's flawless. And it is not going away. So let's do it and do it right. Municipal solar. Municipal solar is a unique opportunity for municipalities to put solar on their rooftops, parking lots, near their schools. What does this do for our communities? It creates clean electricity. It lessens the financial burden of running our schools and our municipal buildings. It lowers our taxes, should we choose to do that, or it gives us the opportunity to create more educational opportunities for our children. And it allows us to not be beholden to power generation corporate businesses. Farm supplemental solar. This is a pretty interesting solar that's available. The Vermont Farm to Plate program, which I encourage anybody to look up on their cell phones or on the internet, they allow farmers to put solar on their property to produce up to 150% of their energy needs, which gives them 50% of the excess energy that they can sell and help their farm stay sustainable and financially sound. They also eliminate their energy costs, their electric energy costs. Massachusetts is even more generous. They give farmers 200% opportunity to produce solar electricity on their properties to offset their electrical energy costs and to give them money that they can put in their pockets to keep their farm businesses profitable. The trick is with Vermont, they don't allow quote-unquote dual-use solar on prime agricultural land. They only allow it on marginal land, but it's still a good deal for farmers. Now, there's a 200-herd dairy farm in Vermont, and they wanted to take advantage of this 150% dual-use solar process to pay for their energy needs. They accomplished it on, get this, 1.5 acres. 200 head of cows, dairy cows, and the farm electrical needs run and accomplished on 1.5 acres of solar in marginal land. The last kind of solar that we're all here to start talking about and put a petition together on is industrial large-scale solar, especially the untested concept of dual-use solar. When prime agricultural land is taken out of crop production and crops come last and profits come first, this is the last and most challenging solar, where there are big losers and big winners. What do we know about this kind of solar? We know a lot, but we don't know enough. As Pete Townsend said in the lyric from Won't Get Fooled Again, meet the new boss, same as the old boss. We have an opportunity with that that sacred relationship we have with the sun, to each of us find a way to become independent of the new boss, same as the old boss. And as Bob Dylan said, the times they are a-changing, and they certainly are a-changing. So let's have these conversations take action at the same time. Learn everything we can about solar. Who wins, who loses, what works, what doesn't work, what do we have to do to give up for industrial solar on our high productive farmlands and with the clear cutting of our beloved forests. Knowledge is power, and in its absence is vulnerability. Please check out MGL 40, Mass General Laws 40, Section 4, Uniformity of Zoning. Uniformity of zoning is an incredibly powerful law that can put at risk so many small communities when they have zoned their districts for agricultural, residential. When you get a big project put in on a residential agricultural neighborhood, the law says all and every other residential agricultural neighborhood in that community cannot turn away a large-scale solar project. Something to think about. So let's learn everything we can today. Let's come together and let's start a movement and a conversation with our state legislators and with each other. And I sure appreciate you coming today. And I want to remind you, I'm a small farm operator, and I've fallen in love with this Connecticut River Valley, from its history to the quality of its land and its ability to grow crops and feed people. Thank you very, very much.